Athens' surrounding landmass, known as Attica, is shaped like an elongated carrot and comprises some 1,000 square miles. It's about the size of Derbyshire or Rhode Island, the smallest American state if you happen to be American. Its urban centre is more like a medium-sized provincial town than a metropolis in our understanding of the word. Farm animals are a common sight in built-up areas, as they are throughout the ancient world. Passageways between houses are narrow and winding. Most roads consist of beaten earth. They are dusty in the summer and muddy in the winter. The total population of Attica is about 150,000, half of whom live in Athens and the other half in the countryside. Approximately half of the population, too, are slaves and will remain so all their lives. This, therefore, is a very different kind of slavery from the one practiced by the Romans, who regularly grant freedom to slaves after they have performed several years of faithful and devoted service. Classical Athens is remarkable by any standards, having produced more men of genius per capita than any other place in history. Its contribution to Western civilization, in literature, art, history, architecture, philosophy, and many branches of science, including astronomy and medicine, is unparalleled. Athens reaches its peak in the mid to late 430s, when new temples are rising on the Acropolis following the Persian conflagration and before the disastrous Peloponnesian War breaks out in 431. However, it briefly recovers 15 years later, just before dispatching the doomed expedition to conquer Sicily. What you should know about Athenian history. It's essential for you to know a bit about the two major events that happen in the 5th century, so that you can converse knowledgeably with the Athenians you encounter. The first is the Greco-Persian Wars. The Persians expected to win that battle and obliterate Athens from the face of the earth. They had a grudge against the city because it had given military assistance to the Greeks living in Ionia, modern-day Western Turkey, who were rebelling against their empire. But they were defeated by a much smaller Athenian army. Marathon was like the Battle of Britain. It totally gripped the Athenian imagination, and still does. The Persians returned 10 years later with a vast army led by King Xerxes. This time around they had it in mind to conquer the whole of Greece. They got as far as Athens, which they burned to the ground, but they were defeated at sea, and later on land. Before the naval battle, the Athenians had evacuated their civilian population to the island of Salamis, barely a mile from the coast of Attica. Since the battle took place in the Straits, the refugees had a front-row view of the conflict. It must have been an agonizing moment. Had the Persians won, they would have landed on Salamis, killed all the men, and enslaved the women and children. I should point out that this treatment of the defeated was not uncommon in the ancient world, and though it was certainly barbaric, it was by no means exclusively barbarian.